Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the DCU, Superman Legacy, and all the latest news that we've been given. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. Okay, so we got one big update in regards to Supergirl and one of the potential castings, and we've got a whole bunch of comments from James Gunn that we have to go over in today's video. So just one last reminder for you guys, the DC Mystery Box raffle is closing tomorrow. Full details are in the description below. If you want to win a DC mystery box full of Blu-rays, pop figures and merchandise all related to DC, be sure to follow the steps in the description below. But for now, let's go ahead and get into today's main topic. So we're going to talk about Supergirl first, then we'll get into Superman Legacy and James Gunn, because as always, he's been very active online, posting a lot of stuff. But we need to talk about Supergirl first, because I reported on my video yesterday. You guys can check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. But Millie Alcock and animated Supergirl Meg Donnelly are the final two actors in the running to play Supergirl in the DCU. So that is the brand new news. But also there is some new news that we need to talk about today in regards to Superman Legacy and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, because according to Jeff Snyder, who was appearing on Roka's podcast, The Hot Mic, which I'll leave linked in the description below, apparently the reason that there's only those two left, and you guys remember there was a report a while ago and Emilia Jones was included in that, she's in Best Picture winner Coda and she's in Netflix series Lock and Key, is that apparently she refused to read for the role of Supergirl. Now Jeff specifically says he's not sure why she didn't actually go in to read, so we're not sure about why she refused, but Roka poses the question, like, is it her going in and being like, I'm an Oscar winner, I've been in this Best Picture, I've been in Netflix shows, you kind of know my resume, so I'm not gonna go in to read out of principle? Or maybe she just didn't want the role of Supergirl at the end of the day. So basically Jeff just clarifies in the video that she simply didn't go in to read, and those other two actors did go in to read, and that's why it's been narrowed down to two. It's not that they eliminated Emilia Jones specifically because they didn't like her as Supergirl, she just didn't go in for the reading, and that's fair enough. That's just down to her. We don't know exactly the ins and outs, but it's just good to hear what's going on, and I feel like Jeff Snyder is quite credible when it comes to different scoops like this, so I kind of believe him if I'm being honest. But yeah, what do you think of Emilia Jones refusing reportedly to actually read for Supergirl? Let me know down in the comments below. But for now, let's move on to talk about James Gunn and talk about Superman Legacy. As always, he's been very active online on Threads, where he's been answering a bunch more questions over the last couple of days, and I've also gone back to a few other things. So I'm pulling out what I think is the most interesting questions that have been asked to him and the most interesting answers. So the first question goes like this: will all DCU series have 8 episodes per season, or is this not a rule and the script is what will dictate the number of episodes? So that's a really good question, and James Gunn replies, the story dictates the amount of episodes. Creature Commandos is 7 full stop. So there you have it. We know now that the DCTV shows, the ones that they're creating in the DCU, are going to be all different types of number counts, and that's because it's going to be the story that dictates the episode, as James Gunn says. So Creature Commandos, it just turned out to be 7, and that's good for that story. But for something like Lanterns, could be about 10 episodes, similar to Superman Lois, if they want to get character development in. You need a lot of episodes, I feel like, and I feel like 10 is optimum if you don't want to go CW like and go for like 20 plus episodes. So definitely for something like Lanterns, the DCTV show that's coming relatively soon, I would say maybe 10 or maybe 9 or something, a bit more than 7. And so there is no official mandate, which is obviously good to hear. We have quite a few DCTV shows in development that will come down the line with the DCU. And I believe the reason why the person asking the question says, is it only 8 episodes per season, is because the one DCEU show, which was Peacemaker, obviously now it's a DCU show because season 2 is going to be linked in, that had 8 episodes, so he was just wondering, okay, is it the same thing? Is this the same deal? But no, James Gunn confirms it's not. Okay, so a question from the same person. He says, Can you tell us why Creature Commandos will be the first project to be released? Was it just ready for release first, or was it being released before Superman Legacy a big part of the DCU narrative? James replies, it was written and ready to go, full stop. We thought it worked well as an imperative before the meal of Superman Legacy. So for a while now, I feel like people have been questioning, what's the importance of Creature Commandos? Why should we care about it? Why should we watch it week to week if it's going to be the very first show? Is that the only thing it's got going for it? Or was there an actual big reason behind them going first? But as James Gunn plainly puts it, it's simply that it was ready to go first. And I guess once they looked at the DCU slate, they were like, okay, this is like a good teaser to kind of start things off, and it doesn't put as much pressure, even though there's a lot of pressure on Superman Legacy, but at least it's not the first DCU project. Okay, let's move on to the next question. This is, how much of the movie is dedicated to the origin story of Superman? Now, this has been something that we've been wondering for a while. We've always been teased that it's more like a year 2, year 3 style Superman. Like, he's not an old Superman. You guys know how old David is. He doesn't look old, and that's not going to be the case, but he's also not going to be brand new to being Superman and to actually going out in the public and using his powers. So James Gunn simply replies, none, in regards to there being any hints of an origin story in this film. I think when he was writing Superman Legacy, he definitely realized, okay, this has been done a lot. We've seen Superman's origin story many times over, and I think this is the right way to go. I think it's right that we jump right into Superman. We don't need to know his origin story again, just like James Gunn is saying, because we know his story. Everyone that's watched a Superman film, who has read a Superman comic or even briefly knows Superman, they know he comes from Krypton, they know he landed on Earth, they know he was born in the middle of nowhere in Kansas, and he becomes Superman by going to Metropolis. We all know that. It's literally a story that is ingrained in society. People who aren't even huge Superman fans know that if you ask them. I'm really happy to hear James Gunn's response that no, there's going to be no hints of origin stories in this film. Okay, so the next question is, will Legacy be shot in IMAX by chance? Now, I like this question because that means that the scope of the film is going to be big. You're going to see it on the big screen, on the IMAX screen. It's going to be amazing, and I just can't wait to see some of the flying shots of Superman flying, well, David in the suit, and it's just going to be so good, I think. I'm really hyped for this, and I think it being in IMAX is obviously going to take it that extra step further in terms of immersion. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Hey Mr. Gunn, just one question. Has David Corenswet used the Superman suit in screening tests? There's a leak on the internet, and I don't know if it's true, but he looks great as the new Superman. James Gunn replies, glad you think he looks great, but there's no leak. The only photo taken of David in the Superman suit are on my phone, and I'm standing with him. Now, I've seen lots of AI interpretations of this right after. I'm actually going to include one of them in the thumbnail because it's just crazy that this technology exists, and I believe that is what the person asking the question is referring to, because this was created like instantly when any hint of a photo existing between James Gunn and David in the suit was actually a thing. So it's kind of crazy what the internet can do, but I'm really looking forward to seeing the first look at David as Superman sometime soon, and I do think it will happen before Superman Legacy begins filming in March. And that's because I think James Gunn is savvy enough to be like, okay, we can take control of the narrative, we can announce it in a really cool way rather than just having some random set photos leak whilst they're filming in Atlanta. Okay, so the final question of the video is this: did David do a wardrobe test in a different Superman costume like Henry Cavill did? James Gunn replied, yes, everyone who screen tested was screen tested in the previous suits, although David had a hard time fitting as he's so tall. So I'm pretty sure he was in the Henry Cavill suit. I believe Henry's actually smaller than David, so that would kind of track. And also he says, you know, everyone who screen tested was screen tested in the previous suit, not like a random previous suit in the past. Like, we've all heard the stories of past Batman, you know, wearing different Batman suits, so it just makes sense because Warner Brothers have those suits in lockup, and if directors like James Gunn want to kind of glimpse at them to see if he could envision them while doing the screen test, like, I'm sure the Supergirl actors who are in the running were wearing like Melissa's suit or at least Sasha's suit, because Warner Brothers definitely have access to some of those suits. Whether it fits or not, it doesn't matter because it's just a screen test and they want to see how it's going to work on the screen visual wise. But that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Also subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. And this is your final reminder, if you want to enter the DC Mystery Box raffle, to enter it tonight, otherwise it's going to be closed at some point tomorrow by the end of the night. As I said earlier, full details on how to enter in the description below. This raffle is for those who support my channel on a huge level, so shout out to you guys, you know who you are. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.